Hello guys and welcome back to the channel. And I think now that we have all seen the match between India and Bangladesh, the first ODI, which as you know was held at Mirpur. I think after the game that we have witnessed, it's better we just get into the match and get into the basics. So, as you all know, this is one of the matches that was very, it was very strange to me. I felt very strange watching the match. And I'll explain it in a minute. So, let's get into the game and what happened. So, at the toss, Bangladesh wins the toss. And before that, I would just wanted to say this. So after we heard that Tamim Iqbal was injured and that he couldn't play, Liton Dash was announced as the captain of the ODI team. So as you know, Liton Dash has played as captain, and he's captained Bangladesh before, but that wasn't in T20 series. And as you know, Bangladesh isn't the best T20 side there is, right? So this is Bangladesh's strongest format. This is the format that they play their best cricket in. So Liton Dash was announced as the captain. So at the toss, when Liton walked up to the toss, Bangladesh won the toss, which was purely based on luck, and I think that was something that worked in Bangladesh's favor going into the game. So now I think as Bangladesh won the toss, and as I had talked about in my preview video of the ODI's first ODI, Bangladesh winning the toss, they decided to bowl as was expected. Deciding to bowl, I think when they decided to bowl and they came out to bowl, so the teams were basically India went in with the experience of Rohit Sharma and Shikhar Dhawan. I thought I suggested that they could go with Ishan Kishan, but they went for experience, and I get it because this is, as we are gonna get into it, this is a very inexperienced lineup. So India's 11 was Rohit Sharma, Shikhar Dhawan, Virat Kohli, Shreyas Iyer, KL Rahul in the middle order at number 5, which I had suggested might happen. Washington Sundar, then you had Shahbaz Ahmed, Shardul Thakur, Deepak Chahar, Mohammad Siraj, Kuldeep Sen, who made his debut for India. So as you can see, that this is a very inexperienced side, with the exceptions of, I would say, you can say 5 players if you count in Shreyas Iyer, but he was out of the team, right? So he's making a return to the team, and it's difficult for him. Excuse me. It's difficult for him. So after everything, I think they came out with a side that was very inexperienced and under pressure, I might add. So as they went in with Rohit Sharma, Shikhar Dhawan, they walked out to bat. They started off pretty, I would say, pretty well. It wasn't something that set the world on fire, but it was okay. The start was okay. The start was okay for me. I think that the start was okay, and it was pretty stable start. It was a stable start, and then walked in Mehdi Hassan Miraj, right? And before anything, I continue. I think Leighton Das's captaincy in the first innings was something that deserves a round of applause. He kept on changing. He kept on ringing in the changes. He didn't give any single bowler more than a 4 over spell, and that's very good on his part. Even if they picked up wickets, what happens is, what captains tend to do is, you're seeing one guy take wickets, taking 2 3 wickets, and you feel like it's his day, and you keep on giving him the ball until until the batting team works out a way to score runs off him, right? But because Leighton Das kept on bringing in the changes, I think that is where India couldn't settle into batting style against a particular batsman, a particular bowler rather, and that's why they couldn't attack openly and go all guns blazing. So anyway, as I was saying, Medias and Miraz comes in to bowl. Now, Shikhar Dhawan coming into the team after quite a pretty big layoff, you might say. So Shikhar Dhawan comes into the team. He's under pressure. You dot him up. Then he sees Medias and Miraz. He tries to be aggressive. He's failing. He can't score. Can't get off strike. And then he tries a reverse sweep, and then it ricochets. The ball ricochets off his gloves, and hits the stumps. Right. So Shikhar Dhawan falls. The first wicket to go, Shikhar Dhawan. He went in to the sixth over, and the score was 23 for 1. 23 for 1. And then after that, I think it is uh, something that Virat Kohli walks in. Virat Kohli walks in. Virat Kohli, Rohit Sharma, they start playing. They're going off great, and they're scoring runs. And Rohit Sharma starts playing naturally. And you're thinking that this can be something that's a little worrying, because as we know, Rohit Sharma has the tendency of scoring big runs against Bangladesh, right? And if he gets in, he's going to score runs. That's just the kind of batsman he is. And then Rohit Sharma enters Shakib Al Hasan, and I think I'm saying these things because I just want to show you how flawless uh, here Leighton Das's captaincy was today. Shakib Al Hasan comes in, second ball. On his second ball, he picks up a wicket, right after the 10th over. He comes in straight after the 10th over. The restrictions are lifted. The fielders are back. He comes in. On his second ball, he picks up Rohit Sharma with a beautiful delivery. It's an absolute peach of a delivery, and this is why I say that this is a peach, because Rohit Sharma, as we all know, Rohit Sharma is someone that will uh, look look for the bowler's weaknesses, right? He looked to block Shakib off, and that the ball that he lost his wicket to wasn't a ball that he was trying to attack or anything. It's a simple ball that he's trying to block, right? But there's a slight, I won't say turn, but there's this term used by commentators and analysts and experts, that is the illusion of turn. It's a fancy term, but what it basically means is, when a bowler creates the illusion in the batsman's head, plants the seeds in his head that he's gonna create turn, and when the ball leaves from his hand, it's gonna turn, right? So it's basically a straight ball, right, with maybe a slight bit of turn, to take it outside, take it away from the outside edge of Rohit Sharma's bat, and he's clean bowled him, right? He's clean bowled Rohit Sharma, which is, I think, one of the biggest turning points of the game, right? And at this point, as Bangladeshi fans, we're thinking, this is it. This is where Bangladesh is gonna try to apply pressure. But at the back of our heads, we know that Virat Kohli is still there and he might score runs. Well. Just about a ball later, right? So Rohit Sharma got out at 10.2 overs. The score was 48 for 2 at that point. Virat Kohli, Virat Kohli scores. I'm really sorry, guys. So Virat Kohli, what he does is at 4 overs 10.4, Virat Kohli gets out. Now this is I think this is very interesting about the dismissal of Virat Kohli. We all know Virat Kohli is a gem of a player through the covers, and especially through extra cover, extra cover. Now we what we do know about Virat Kohli, he's going to play the inside out shot, but it's not an extravagant inside out shot, like so it's basically a shot that is used to generate a single or a two depending on how well you hit it, right? But because the game is at Mirpur, and again, I have said this before, that at Mirpur the ball will turn, and at Mirpur the ball will spin, right? So at Mirpur, what happens is the ball starts stopping. Right after the ball loses its shine, in at least this is how Bangladeshi bowlers play. Right after the ball loses its shine, it starts skidding, it starts spinning. So after that, so what it did was the ball stopped. The ball stopped in the wicket. So Virat Kohli was done playing his shot, through the shot, and then the ball kind of was in the air, but it wasn't in the air like it's very, you're expected that Virat Kohli is gonna get a single, right? But it hits the wicket and it's in the air for a very small period, and Liton Das, who's fielding at extra cover, takes an acrobatic grab to dismiss Virat Kohli in about a ball later from Rohit Sharma's dismissal, right? So the score then was 49 for 3 in the 11th over, right? The 11th over isn't still completed. So this is something that I think is very, at this point, Bangladesh are bossing the game, right? Bangladesh are bossing the game. They're playing very good cricket and they're doing the small things right? So after that, I think that is when India's Rohit Sharma's India tried to make a comeback with Shreyas Iyer and KL Rahul at the crease, right? And this is where I think this is the partnership that threatened to take it away from Bangladesh. This is the partnership that threatened to take everything away from Bangladesh. And so this was when they were rebuilding it, and they were, Shreyas Iyer came in, he played a couple good shots, but he was basically trying to stay there. And as I pointed out, Bangladesh, what they went for in their starting 11 was Ibadat Hussain, right? They went for Ibadat Hussain. They went for Ibadat Hussain to take to counter the deficiency that was caused by Taskin's injury, right? Ibadah Hussein comes in. He has that pace, so he comes in. He starts peppering uh, Iyer with the short balls, right? Uh, this is something we saw at Suresh Raina as well. Raina, no doubt, is a very good player of spin, a very good player through the covers, takes on the spinners, is very good with balls that are full from the pace bowlers, and this is what I see in Iyer too, right? If you make the comparisons, I think Shreyas Iyer is very similar to Suresh Raina, right? Uh, and this is something that I really think works. So after that, after the initial uh, Bangladesh on top, there is this partnership, right? This partnership that threatens to take the game away. It's basically a partnership that was looking very, very dangerous, and it's a partnership that was blossoming for a while. 40 odd runs partnership. So Shreyas Iyer, we knew, was struggling with the short ball. If you saw the game, you know that he was struggling with the short ball. Every now and then he was tested the short ball, but he let it go. He was in no mood of hitting the short balls, right? Ibadat Hussain comes in, right? Ibadat Hussain comes in, and by then KL Rahul was also, he was more more of the fluent batsman of the two, right? Between that partnership, in that partnership. So KL Rahul came in. He was fluent, but he wasn't making. He didn't have a very big sample size to show for it, right? He was making runs, but he wasn't 30 or 40. He was making runs. He was making runs, but it wasn't like straight away get into the innings and start smashing it. They were playing sensible rebuilding type cricket. They were basically trying to rebuild the innings and then create a launch pad where I think India's target is somewhere between 260 to 270, where on that pitch, on this Shere Bangla pitch, they knew they could defend, right? So after that 40 odd partnership, Shreyas Iyer gets uh, taken. He loses his wicket trying the pull shot. He at that point, after that point, he couldn't simply resist. Right, Ibadat banks one in short, and he hits it. He hits it, and there is it goes straight up in the air, and it's caught by Mushfiqur Rahim. Right. So the partnership is broken. Then walks in Washington Sundar. Right. At this point, India are 92 for 5, 92 for 4. Okay. So this happened at the end of the 20th over. So at that point, even at that point, what India is thinking is, okay, we are at a good position. Oh, they would wish that they hadn't lost 4 wickets, but they were at a good position to really make things worse for Bangladesh. And then walked in Washington Sundar. They again started the rebuilding process and the rebuilding structure. And this is where KL Rahul started to, expand. And basically, what Sundar's job was to accompany KL Rahul, and he started expanding and he started whacking the ball for sixes, 4 6s. I think he hit 4 6s and 4 4s by the end of his innings, right? So he was starting to whack the ball, and I mean, truth be told, at that point, I was thinking, dude, these guys can take the game away from. These guys will take the game away from Bangladesh. So they played a very good innings, very good partnership. They had a partnership of about 60 odd runs, I think. Yeah, 60 odd runs in the up until the 10 overs. For 10 overs, after the in 10 overs they made 60 runs. A partnership of 60 runs. That's close to just over 10 overs actually. So that's close to 6 runs an over. If you, that's roughly 6 runs and over. So that was an innings. That was the partnership that threatened to take the game away, and that was only the 33rd over going on, and at the 33rd over, 32nd, 32.3 overs, Washington Sundar gets dismissed because he was, you saw this in Shakib's bowling that he was making Washington Sundar want to hit, big. But Shakib, being the wily customer he is, kept on dropping the ball short, 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 in a position where Washington Sundar and Shakib was bowling very fast, right? Shakib was bowling very, very fast. So Washington Sundar didn't know whether to confront or go back, hit on the up or go sideways, and he didn't know keep it on the ground. So you kind of felt like something had to give, and eventually what Washington Sundar tried to do is he tried the reverse sweep. Yet again another Indian batsman trying to use the reverse sweep as a jail free card, get out of jail free card, and that was something that I really personally think that wasn't really necessary, because KL Rahul was still going at the clip that he was going. It was very difficult for him to, you know, at that point, if that partnership had stuck, they could have batted Bangladesh out of the game, right? But they didn't do that. I don't know what it was. I know a batsman's temperament, a batsman's mentality is to score a run. But with all due respect to Washington Sundar, he should know of his capabilities by now, right? He should know that he's not a batsman of the caliber of, say, KL Rahul, right? He doesn't have that caliber, and that's okay. Later in the second innings, he did take wickets. He did his job. He did his bit. For him, it was to just stick there, to be there, to be present, to be there, and for Bangladesh, it's basically this. They needed him to be there. For India, rather. I'm sorry. For India, they needed that partnership to keep on going. If that partnership had worked till the 40th over, then that could have been something that was very helpful, and that could have batted Bangladesh out of the game. But then what happened? As one brings two, Shakib gets his third wicket, and this is the 33rd over going on, right? Shakib gets his third wicket, and straight after that, in the very next over, I'm sorry guys. So in the very next over, they lose another one. They are at this point they're 153 for 6, right? At this point they're 156 53 for 6 in the 34th over, and this is something that has constantly been happening, and that became a very real thing for, of a very real thing. So this is something that, and this is where Shakib, being the talisman he is for Bangladesh, picked up a catch. That catch wasn't supposed to be taken. That wouldn't actually happen. He took it inches off the ground, right? He took that catch inches off the ground. And that was something that was, I think, was the highlight of how Shakib's game went. After that, Ibadat Hussain gets um, Shadab, Shabazz, rather. Not Shadab, Shabazz. He gets Shabazz, and then Shakib just blows on. He just blows away the day, right? Shakib then comes in. He takes Shardul Thakur. I guess it was, yeah, it was Shardul Thakur. 156 for 7 at this point, right? There, and then again it's so this is a clean board, right? Third, again, an Indian batsman can't pick Shakib off that pitch, and there's just a little bit of just for the sake of it, there's turn, and he beats Shardul Thakur, and they lose their 7th wicket. Then it just so it's basically a procession from here on, right? Then Shakib picks up his 5th wicket. He picks up Chahar. He picks up Chahar, 156 for 8, 35th over, and then it became something completely different, right? It became something that wasn't really expected. It became something that I think shouldn't have happened. Happened because then comes in Deepak Chahar, and Deepak Chahar goes after Shakib's 5th wicket was Deepak Chahar, right? After that, Mohammad Siraj comes in, and there's KL Rahul playing shots because now he knows that he has to get some runs, get in there close to 200 and beyond, right? So KL Rahul after playing shots, and then he got out by Ibadat. Now Ibadat used the short ball very effectively, and we have seen this with Bangladeshi bowlers in the past, where they tend to be carried away. They tend to get carried away with the short ball and try to overdo it, and then they become predictable. That Ibadat today was pretty much spot on. I mean, he did have the odd 5 wides and buys, but overall he was very productive. And the one thing that I really like about Ibadat is he's a wicket taking bowler, and this is what I didn't see with Bangladesh in the past. Was what they used to do was with Rubel Hussain when he used to play, and he was the wicket taking bowler. Once he had gotten some tap for 2-3 overs, they used to take him off. But now and this is what I really liked about Leighton today, was that he didn't care if if Ibadat got hit for 2 fours or 3 fours in the over. He wanted that wicket, and he knew that Ibadat could get him that wicket, and he backed his bowler, and that was very wonderful to see and very refreshing to see. Right, a captain with an aggressive mindset who backs his bowler does wonders for the bowler's confidence, right? But because the bowler is always under pressure, because when you're a casual fan, you don't want to see the bowler take neutral fan. When you're a neutral fan, you don't want to see the bowler take as many wickets as many times you want to see the batsman score runs, right? Hit boundaries, right? So there's always that extra pressure on bowlers, right? But the way Litton really kept on feeding his bowlers confidence and kept on ringing the changes, and he brought in every bowler, and he had a plan, and they put a plan into the place, and they kept on just plugging at it. Was something else, man. And trust me, I after this today, after a very long time, I enjoyed Bangladesh's cricket, right? I enjoyed their cricket. Now this is only in the bowling innings, because the batting innings, my God, is another thing, right? I'm gonna get into it in a bit, right? So then what happens is Rahul gets out. Siraj Siraj is trying to get to 200 and all that, but Ibadat picks him up as well, right, in the 42nd over. And so India are bowled out for 186, right? Bowling out India is something that Bangladesh will take into pride, and that will give them a very big confidence. I know this isn't the best team that India will ever produce, but for Bangladesh, defeating India or even having small wins against India is something else. What I mean by small wins is, like in the first innings, what they did was they bowled out India. That gave them confidence, right? That gave them immense confidence. So one more thing, KL Rahul was today. I think KL Rahul was the only batsman that made that pitch look like uh, it was worth batting on, right? He looked like he was batting on another pitch, right? He looked like he could score runs. He looked like when he was on strike, it felt like they weren't batting in Mirpur. It felt like they were batting somewhere in New Zealand or Australia, where the bounce is very even, and the strokes that he hit, the back foot punches and the cuts and everything, even the straight hits. He hit 1-6 straight over the bowler's head, and then he held the pose, and that was a thing of beauty, right? That was a thing of beauty. So enough about KL Rahul. He scored about 73 of 70 balls. So he went over run a ball on a pitch that everyone else struggled to bat on, right? So that was the first innings. Obviously, the star of the show for the first innings for India is KL Rahul, and with the ball, I think it's everyone had a good day today, with the exception of Hassan Mahmood. He was expensive, but as a youngster, I think uh, he will have good days and bad days, and it's important for the team management to understand that he's just a youngster, and you need to give him more opportunities and teach him more, because no matter how much you talk in team meetings about things, about how there is different situations, and this is the plan, and this is the plan, and this is how we're gonna bowl, these are the fields that we're gonna set, and this is where you need to execute your plans, this is how you do it. The experience only comes from game time, right? You can take or 60 wickets in 60 balls in the nets, but it doesn't mean anything if you can't perform under pressure, right, in the game, right? And there is no more better learning than game time, right? So after all that, I think Hassan Mahmood being expensive isn't something that the team management should be worried about, because we have seen in flashes that he can be a brilliant bowler. I think he's someone that needs to be looked at. I think the team management needs to tend him feed him, nurse him. They need to treat him like he's the next big thing in Bangladesh cricket, because I think he has the ability. The problem with Bangladesh in the past is there have been a lot of players that we felt like could be the next big thing, but they have all had, most of them have had their careers cut down short, right? And you don't want that. You want a cricketer to serve his nation for as long as he can, with the standards held to the highest order, right? Enough about the first innings. Sorry guys, I'm keeping rambling on. I'm rambling on. Sorry. But so the second innings. So the target for Bangladesh is 187, and I'm thinking 187. So what Bangladesh needs to do is, what Little needs to do is, Little needs to come in, Little needs to score runs at the top, score quick runs, and be aggressive and be attacking, and then India are under pressure, right? But what happens is, and this is something that we have seen in Bangladesh cricket many a time, is that Nazmul Hossain Shanto gets the first ball, right? He gets the first ball, and he's caught at slip by Rohit Sharma. First ball, Deepak Chah bowls the first ball of the innings, and he's caught out at slip, right? And at that point, you feel like, what's the point of even, cheering for these guys, And that is a feeling that I have faced multiple times in this innings. I'm coming to it, right? So the whole purpose of it was very frustrating. Enamul Haq comes in, right? He scores a boundary of his first ball, and I'm like, yes, Bijoy, that's how you play it. Put pressure back on India, right? Put pressure back on India. But I'm at the back of my mind, I also know this, that now I think Litton and Enamul both are going to be aggressive, and in the process, at least one of them is going to get out, at least, if not both. But what happens is even more depressing, right? Even more frustrating, even more depressing is, both these batsmen, what they're trying to do is, they're blocking, a ball on the pads, come on, a ball that's angled down leg side, a ball that's on the pads deserves to go for four, right? As a batsman from the subcontinent, you're supposed to put the ball away when the ball is on your pads, right? You can't let a ball that's on your pads be anything but a four, a boundary, if not a six, right? And not hitting the ball for a boundary is a sin in my estimation. If you ask me, I think the ball has to go for a boundary at least, if not more. So Enamul Haq Bijoy comes in, right? Enamul Haq Bijoy still playing the normal caution shots, and for a while I think it was okay, right? Because they lost the first wicket. You're supposed to be playing normal shots. You're supposed to be playing cautious for a while, right? But this is where I think Litton, like, this could have been something that Litton should have gone after, right? If he had taken off taken on Deepak Chahar, and Deepak Chahar was India's premier swing bowler in this match, right? I know that Shiraj played well and that he picked up wickets, but I think this is where they lost the plot for me. Bangladesh, what they did was, they sat on these bowlers and they let them bowl to them. Let them bowl to Bangladesh, and that's not the way to go about it, right? If suppose Bangladesh had gone after Deepak Chahar, right, and brought him off his length, because Deepak Chahar is not someone who can nail the Yorker. I mean, he's bowled the Yorker, but he's not someone that can nail the Yorker. He depends on swing because and I know that India found a lot of swing and long after the 10th over, but I think if Bangladesh had kept on at least hit him for a couple of boundaries, that would have get him off his length, and then you could have taken advantage by hitting him more, right? And if the bowler was under pressure, because this isn't a 280-300 score, right? If the bowler was under pressure, they could have scored. The bowler would have given you uh, a couple of more opportunities. You put those away, and you're on top, right? So the first 10 overs for me was something that I really didn't understand. Bijoy was uh, not even able to hit the balls on the pads, not even get a bat on them, right? He survived an LBW shot on the basis that the ball was so bad that it was going down the leg side, right? He had an LBW appeal against him on a ball that he should have hit for 4, right? And that was really frustrating. And another thing that I think that Bangladesh was lacking was, and this is something that we have seen a lot, is the running between the wickets. Rotate the strike. Don't sit around, right? You can't hit boundaries. We've all seen this Mirpur. It's not the best pitch, right? It's not the best pitch that there is. It's not a Sylhet pitch where it's a Sylhet is a batsman's paradise, right? But Mirpur, it's a bowler's pitch, right? It's bowling friendly. You need to apply yourself. And that is the thing that I think was lacking in Bangladesh's approach. And picking up singles, I'm gonna give you a stat, okay? 31st over. It was the 31st over. By the 31st over, Bangladesh had about 121 dot balls. 121 dot balls. They had 8 boundaries. They had, I think it was 8 8 twos, 2 sixes, 3 threes, and 121 dot balls, man. So after that in itself brings in the pressure, right? As a batsman, if you don't rotate the strike, if you're struggling to rotate the strike, it puts the pressure on the guy on the other end. Litton, I know maybe it's the pressure of captaincy, maybe it's that he got the captaincy once, albeit in a different format, and lost the game. Maybe it was that pressure, but Litton needed to up the ante for in my estimation at least. Anyway, let's not get too ahead of ourselves. So at the end of the second over, I think it was 9.4, I guess, right? It was 9.4 overs when basically what happened was Bijoy, again a ball on the pads that he should have smoked to the boundary. He lost his wicket, right? He lost his wicket, chipping the ball to the fielder, a ball that he should have hit to the boundary, and he lost his wicket, and that put pressure on Bangladesh, right? They at 9.5 overs they were 26 for 2, and all of a sudden you felt like, okay, not this again, not this again. Why does this happen to us with India, right? Then Mr. Dependable, the flag bearer for Bangladesh, Shakib Al Hasan comes out to bat. He he hits the ball for a four first ball, right? First ball it's a four. First ball four, and you kind of feel like, no, Shakib, hold your horse, hold your horses. Now let's not get carried away. Let's stay there. But who is to listen to us? At times, as Bangladeshi fans, we think. I personally think, as Bangladeshi fans, we understand the game better than the players at times. That is the most frustrating thing that can happen, right? They are really out of balance. And then there was a partnership between Liton and Shakib. The partnership between Liton and Shakib, that was very lackluster, if you like. You had Shakib going. Both of these players were trying to hold the nerve, and this is the theme of the whole Bangladesh innings, right? We often shout for Bangladesh to not get carried away, playing too many attacking shots, and not finding the proper balance. When today the score wasn't that big, if they had played a few attacking shots, and I'm not saying go hell for leather, I'm saying no agricultural shots. I'm saying just play a few shots. It doesn't have to even be like a boundary every over. At least rotate the strike. Take 6 runs and over for a while, and the pressure will be on India, because when the innings started, it was thought that it's up to India to make the play. They are the ones that need to bowl out Bangladesh. Bangladesh, if they bat 50 overs, will get this target, right? Anyway, what happens is lackluster. Then Liton comes in. He hits a wonderful pull shot for 6. I think it was against Kuldeep Sen, the debutant, for 6. And then hits a couple of fours and a couple of delightful strokes for singles. And you feel like Liton's playing well, right? Finally, you feel like he's getting back to the form, the Liton that we know, right? He's 41 of 62, and then he loses it. Then in the 20th over he loses it, right? 74 for 3. He gets out by a very 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 average ball down the leg side. He should have put that away, right? He should have put that ball away. It would have been a wide if he had left it. That just shows the mentality that Bangladesh were at in this game, right? And then he gets caught down the leg side, and well, he doesn't. The umpire doesn't give an out at first, but he walks off, right? He walks off, and it's out. And 74 for 3 in the 20th over, right? And at that point, still, I'm thinking, okay, all Bangladesh needs is one good partnership, of 70, 60 or 70, and the game's in the bag, right? And with Mushfiq coming in, I think it is very likely that this is going to happen. Mushfiq comes in, Shakib versus. So then Shakib plays a few delightful shots against the Pacers and the spinners and all, and then he starts going crazy. He starts going brainless, man. I think he had a brain aneurysm or something. He starts coming down the track. Washington Sundar, well, he knew that he could just Washington Sundar doesn't spin the ball that much, right? He stalls so he gets the bounce, but he doesn't spin the ball so much. So what he could do is just pick off singles, because Bangladesh had that good start, rebuilding phase that you call it, with Litton and Shakib. He could just keep on rotating the strike and go on its merry way. And when he feels like we're close, we as in the Bangladeshi team, he could then, go for flamboyance. But Shakib, being uh, the frustrated person that he makes us fans be, is then plays something which is very frustrating, and he gets caught. Right? Shakib gets caught by Virat Kohli of all people, and he plays a shot that I don't think. It's a shot that, yeah, it's a 100 screamer from Virat Kohli, and that's a very good catch and okay. But why do you need to play that shot? And if you must go for an aggressive shot, then go full fledged at it, go full hog at it, right? Why do you play half-hearted shots on Mirpur where you know it's a turning track? And playing on the up isn't that easy against the spinners. So why do you have to play that kind of a shot? Right? And then he plays it. Who is to listen to us fans, right? We don't know anything about the game of cricket. So he plays this shot, right? And Virat Kohli takes a 100 screamer. Okay? He takes a magnificent catch. So they're 95 for 4 at this point, and in the 23rd over, right? And this is what is even more frustrating, is they're in the 23rd over. Why would you want to play that shot when you know that playing that shot will only bring risk, and it will only bring risk to the team? And then comes in Mahmudullah Riyad, and then comes in Mahmudullah Riyad. Now Mahmudullah Riyad and Mushfiqur Rahim, what they do is they try to rebuild. They they uh, they absorb the pressure. They take in balls, and they are trying to rebuild the innings and trying to do things a certain way, right? They rebuild the innings, right? They're absorbing the pressure, and yet again, this is where I think they need to rotate the strike. You can't keep on taking up balls, because if you rotate the strike, and just saying that this is a big not that big of a target, so if you just rotate the strike, that would have in itself built up pressure for India, right? And he didn't they didn't rotate the strike as much. And then in the 35th over, at the end of the 35th over, Mahmudullah Riyad gets an LBW shout, right? He gets an LBW shout by Shardul Thakur against it, right? So they're making an appeal. How's that to Michael Goff? And Michael Goff gives it out. And that is where I think the frustration lies. So you have used up about 9 overs, right? You have used up 9 overs and you've scored 34 runs. You don't have a single boundary in it. You don't score runs. I mean, if you even took 4 runs of 6 balls per over. Every over you had 4 runs, then you would have had 40 by the end, right? And if you can't pick up 40 runs in 10 overs, and if you cannot rotate the strike that way, then I don't think that is a very good fit for an international cricketer. I'm sorry. My words are harsh, and people who are seeing it might then say stuff about me, but I really think that this is not the way to go, right? You had Shakib Al Hasan and Tamim Iqbal say that they're gonna win the World Cup. How are you going to win the World Cup this way? How are you going to win the World Cup in a manner that makes you look bad, right? Where you can't even rotate strike when your team is down in the dumps, man. I don't care. They qualified for the World Cup. Okay, if you're that kind of team, if you're happy just qualifying for the World Cup, then be that team. Don't make these bold claims that you're gonna win the World Cup because it's your last World Cup. A lot of people, for a lot of people, this is their last World Cup, right? A lot of people are in their 30s, in their mid 30s. This is their last World Cup. You don't have India making claims that this is their last World Cup, they're gonna win the World Cup, but they consistently are semi-finals. Consistently. You gotta make your actions do the talking for you. You can't have these you're not your actions not doing the job, and you're making bold claims, right? You're gonna win the World Cup and all that, right? So anyway, I'm sorry, I'm getting a little carried away, but as a kid that has watched cricket since the age of 10, this is all I have been doing, right? Today I'm in my 20s, and this is all I have been doing. I know cricket. I breathe cricket, man. Right? So I know this team. I've seen them struggle to make. I've seen them given a target of 250, 285 against South Africa in the 2010 World Cup, and they're getting out for 78, right? So if you compare that, this team is a very far along from what I saw when I first started watching cricket. But if but you gotta constantly be improving, right? You gotta constantly be improving. You gotta constantly make things happen. If you're not willing to make the work, if you're not willing to put in the work, and you're constantly just saying that we're gonna win the World Cup, that's not how things happen, right? So if you look at this, they were 95 for 4 in the 24th over, and they had become, and now in the end of the 35th over they're 128 for 5. So you do the math, right? You do the math. In almost 10 overs, in 9 overs or 10 overs, they have only scored, not even 10, 11 overs, they have scored 30 odd runs, man. That's not cricket. That's not how you play cricket. You can't rotate the strike. You can't. This is not done. You're a professional cricketer, man. You play for your country. Where's the dedication? Guys, for those people who think that I'm being too heavy and too aggressive, stick with me, because I'm not done, right? And the depression doesn't end there. I'm sorry, Most of you might be going, it doesn't matter, we won the match. But that is, as a fan, I am happy. If I was just a casual fan, then I would have been happy that my team won, right? But I am a person that can analyze the game, right? That is analyzing the game, that knows the game well enough to analyze it, right? So this sort of match is not going to work. Now, after all that, after everything, so 128 for 5, there are 128 for 5, 35th over, first ball, 36th over, first ball. The very next ball, Mushfiqur Rahim chops one to his middle stump. He's out. The India strike 2 in 2, right? So 128 for 6, right? And this is where the tension levels start rising. 59 runs required of 89 balls, but they only have 4 wickets in hand, right? And with all due respect, the Bangladeshi batting lineup from here onward is not one that can look very good, right? So then you have Mushfiqur Rahim. He comes in, he makes it happen, right? Mushfiqur Rahim walks in, Mushfiqur Rahim walks out. Then you have Afif Hussain come in. He strikes the ball, hits a couple of boundaries, right? And at the strikes the ball 6 runs later, just 6 runs later. And 6 runs. Here's the thing: 6 runs later, the team just scored 6 runs, and they spent about over 3 overs, right? Scoring 6 runs. And they lost another wicket. They were 134 for 7. They only have 3 wickets in hand. They need still a lot of runs, considering how the pitch is behaved and the caliber of batsmen that are remaining, right? And then again, 2 balls later, Ibadat Hussain, who's walking in at Ibadat Hussain, number 9 batsman, gets hit wicket, right? He's hit wicket. Ibadat Hussain gets hit wicket by Kuldeep Sen, right? He's hit wicket by Kuldeep Sen. And then they scored about just 1 run. 1 run in almost 2 overs. After 9 balls, they scored 1 run. 9 balls later, another wicket goes down. The ninth wicket is down, right? Hassan Mahmood's out. 136 for 9, right? 39.3 overs done. 1 wicket remaining. They needed about 51 runs. 51 runs. They have 1 wicket remaining, right? And then Mehdi Hasan Miraj comes in. Mustafizur Rahman, number 11, walks in, right? Mehdi Hasan Miraj is at the crease. And then India at this point are very chuff. They're very proud of themselves. They know they're going to win the game, right? They know they're going to win everything. They know that the match is theirs to win, right? So, at this point, Mehdi Hasan Miraj At this point, Mustafiz Rahman scores a boundary off an outside. I think it was a delightful drive in terms of number 11 playing it. And then for a boundary, and still you're feeling like, okay, it's not happening. Just a boundary. Next ball probably gonna get out. Then Mehdi Miraz, what he does is he just goes crazy. He just goes full crazy, and he showed the talent of batting, a perfect example of batting with the tail, right? He shows a perfect example of batting with the tail. He shows a perfect example of how you bat with the tail and how you score runs with the tail. And he dragged Bangladesh, Mustafiz and Bangladesh with him to victory. He scored runs, he hit sixes, he hit boundaries, he took singles when needed, and he won the game for Bangladesh. Now it's worth noting that India dropped him 3 times. 2 times were proper chances. The most notable one was KL Rahul, the man with the gloves, underneath the ball, drops the ball. Right? And there was another drop, and he was also caught on a free hit. Right? So if you discount, if you count on all of them, all of the chances, it's 3 chances now. One batsman gets 3 lives and is bound to make you pay. Right? And Mehdi Miraz hits the winning runs and Bangladesh win. Right? They win with 4 overs remaining, scoring the last wicket partnership of 51 runs. Right? Mehdi Miraz scored about 38, 51 runs, of which 3 were extras. Mustafi scored 10. He played his part. And Mehdi Miraz scored unbeaten 38 of 39 balls. Right? He has shown this time and again that he has the ability to bat up the order, and I think, and I have said this long ago, that I think he should bat at the top, because the first time Bangladesh went on to the semi-finals was when Mehdi Miraz was the captain, and he used to bat at number 4 for Bangladesh, right? He used to bat at number 4. And I think batting at number 4, I'm not saying give him a slot at number 4, but I know that he deserves a higher order. I think he has the capabilities of being a proper middle order batsman for Bangladesh, right? You put him at 8, 9. You put him at 8. That's too low for him. He's the sort of batsman that can build innings. He can finish games, but he's sort of batsman that I know that can build innings as well, right? Build an innings as well. I think he should bat somewhere near 4 or 5, right? That's what I think, because 2023, after all these 4 stalwarts of Bangladeshi cricket retire, what are Bangladesh going to do? Who is going to solve the middle order crisis for Bangladesh? Who needs to who will stand up for Bangladesh? And this is where I think that they need to do it. Having said all that, I would like to finish the video by just saying that Bangladesh didn't win the match. Right? Bangladesh didn't win the match. India lost the match. It was a match that should have been won by Bangladesh. Should have been won by India rather, right? It was a match that India lost. It was a match that India should have won. You know? And if they don't get their squad together, if they don't get everything together, and with an eye on the World Cup. I know it's um, in their backyard, and you might say conditions will favor them, but that's all in bilateral series, tri-nation series. In tournament cricket, we know big match pressure is there, right? Big match pressure. You win it or you get out, right? It's like you getting kicked out of your own party. You getting kicked out of the party that you threw, right? And if India don't solve this middle order or top order or whatever it is, that's not letting them perform, they won't be able to win the World Cup. I am stating it outright. I don't care what people say, but if they are not able to do it, then they're not going to win the World Cup. Having said that, as a Bangladeshi fan, today was an emotional day and today was a special day. I hope that the second ODI will be the same, and I hope that Bangladesh have what it takes to repeat this performance and honestly do better. Till then, take care, bye bye, and please like and subscribe.